welcome back to my channel. Hope you are all doing good. I'm doing good and wish you a Merry Christmas. Hope you all are enjoying your holidays. Today I'm coming to you with a video titled What I Read in November and December, because I couldn't read much in December. I went to my mom's place, and there I was very busy. I was going out and there were a lot of things to do, so I couldn't read much during those days. And then I am struck on a book that's kind of boring. We will speak about it more in detail. Let's start with what I read in November. So November I started with a book called Spells by April and Pike. So it's a sequel to Wings, I guess, and it's as far as I know, Wings is a very popular novel by April, but Spells fell a little short of what I had expected it to. It has a beautiful cover. The uh, blurb that is there on the book seems so interesting, but the book fell flat. Nothing much. I DNF'd it because it was that bad. I tried my best to read through but couldn't, and I DNF'd it. It's the story of Laurel, who discovered that she's a fairy. That happens in the first book, and then in this book she comes back to the fairy school called Avalon. And there she tries to learn about how to use her magic and all, but the story kind of seems flat here. The school, I mean, the parts where she's in the school and learning, there isn't much in the story. It's just tells you about few plans and few classes and nothing much. I mean, it's not interesting enough to keep you hooked. And there was nothing happening. I was almost 250 pages in, and there was nothing that's happening. She was still in the school. She was studying about some plans. That's it. And the details are given about the plans. Like the plans are described in too much detail, and it's not even interesting, so I DNF this book. I have my notes on my phone, so for the rest of the books I'll refer to my notes so that I don't miss any points. So the second book I have here is Animal Farm by George Orwell. So yeah, this is a classic. And so the story is like this: the animals of the manor farm rebel against their owner and throw them out and then form their own system. But eventually they realize that their own system is no better than the earlier system. So it's a political satire and a classic. I don't want to say much here. It's an awesome book, a very good read, an easy read and that, and very entertaining. So I gave it 4 stars out of 5. The next book I have here is a little more interesting. It's called um, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Hope it's clear. So yeah, this is a thriller, a mystery thriller, and The Silent Patient is the story of Alicia Bernenson, who is living in a picture-perfect life until she shoots her husband one day and then goes silent. She doesn't speak anything. Now Theo Faber, a psychotherapist, takes it upon himself to make Alicia talk and to uncover the truth. The writing is beautiful and the premise is kind of intriguing. I will not say anything more here as I do not want to reveal the mystery parts of the book. I don't want to give up any other details. The whole plot is based on you being not able to predict the big twist. Okay, so I don't want to speak much. Uh, I could predict it pretty much towards the later part of the book, the big twist. But there were also many loopholes and loose ends in the story. Despite all this, the writing could keep me glued to the book till the last page. I have to give that credit to the author. Though there were loopholes, though there were loose ends, it I was still reading the book till the last page. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's a good read and a page turner. But as I could predict the big twist, I'll give it 3.5 stars out of 5. So the next book I have here is very interesting, and it's The Secret of the Nagas by Amish Tripathi. Yeah. And This book is the second in the Shiva trilogy and takes us through Shiva's journey in finding the evil. Here, Shiva travels through the length and breadth of the country to find the secret of the Nagas and find the evil. This is a brilliant sequel to the first book, The Immortals of Meluha. It's full of twists and turns. Though I could predict some of them, most were a surprise. I loved this book and I can't wait to read the next book in the series. I'm just dying to read it, to be frank. I'll not write I'll not speak much because I don't want to spoil the book for you. You should definitely read. There is a big twist coming up in this book. If you have read the first book, you'll know there's a big twist coming up in this book. So I don't want to reveal much of it. So I'll not speak about the story much. But believe me, it's awesome and it's actually a page turner. I would give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. That's very rare that I like a book so much. So yeah, I will try to purchase and read the third part soon, and then I'll come up with a trilogy review soon. So that was the fourth book. Then we have the fifth book, and I'll just take out the notes. Yeah, the first book I have here is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. As you know, um, this is a very famous book by Agatha Christie, and it's kind of a classic, you can say, in the sense that it's very famous. I heard a lot about it in the booktube, so I'll just read my notes. So, Orient Express runs into a snowdrift at midnight and halts, which means a long stop. One thing that's a little strange is that the train is surprisingly full for that time of the year. Extremely cold. Uh, Apart from that, the journey seems quite uneventful until it is discovered one morning that one of the passengers is murdered and the killer is somewhere or someone among them. Then comes Hercule Poirot, I hope I'm saying the name right, to the rescue. This is my first Agatha Christie novel, and I'm so glad that I picked it up during the Amazon Festival sale. The story is fast paced, intriguing, and a page turner. The way Poirot analyzed the clues and witnesses and came up with answers was just amazing. I did guess some of the clues but could never guess the ending as it is. I will definitely be picking more of Agatha Christie novels going forward. I'm sorry for reading from my notes, but I read these books in November and I just didn't want to miss any important points that I had in my mind at the time I read the book. So that's why I'm referring to my notes. uh, yeah, and this was an awesome mystery thriller. I could never guess the ending as it is. I did guess some of the parts, but not the ending as it is. So it's a very interesting novel, and I'm very glad that I picked it up. And I gave this a 4 star out of 5. Awesome book. The next book I have here is, I'll just take out my notes, is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Now, when I introduced this book to you, I had said that I don't like the cover because it's the movie cover, but there was no other option, so I did buy the book. And I am very glad that I picked this up because this is an awesome book and I loved it. So I'll tell you about the book. Hazel is terminally ill. A miracle drug has extended her life, but she is not fooling herself. She completely understands what her future would be. She has this boring life until she meets the Augustus Waters in one of the cancer support group meetings, and then everything changes. Now, what can I say about this book? It's awesome. So much has already been said that I'm at loss for words. This is the first time I cried reading a book. I literally cried. Mm. And the book was so sad, funny, full of hope and heart wrenching at the same time. It was awesome. As I said, I cried reading the book. I cried for the first time, actually, in my reading sprint. That I don't know what to say. It was a heart touching story. I loved it, and I gave this I gave this book a 4.5 stars out of 5. It was an awesome read. You must read it. Awesome. And the last book I have here is what I'm reading in December. I started it towards the end of November and I'm still reading it. So it's called The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of the Window and Disappeared by Jonas Jonasson. So The title seemed so interesting, and even the blurb at the back of the book seemed so interesting. But the book isn't living up to its expectation. I had thought it would be really, really interesting, but it's kind of boring. There's a lot of dark comedy in it, and I'm not loving how it's going. So it's kind of boring. I'm not liking the way it's written. I'm not liking the story. I'm not liking the plot. uh, it's trying to be funny, but it's not funny. At least for me personally, I didn't enjoy the book much. So I will try to read it till the end of December. 31st December, I'll try to read it till then. Whatever I read. If I don't finish the book, I'll just DNF it after that. So yeah, that was one boring book. Let's see how it goes. I'll definitely give you a review of all the books I DNF'd soon. Okay, so that was all from me for this week. Hope you all have an awesome, awesome, awesome Christmas and a happy new year in advance. So let's meet next Saturday. Until then, bye.